Let's carry on the conversation. Joining us now is Democratic strategist Anthony Coley. He's the founder of the public affairs consultancy firm Corner Office Strategies. He's former Deputy Assistant Treasury Secretary. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let's talk about the possibility of a deal on stimulus. Do you think that the story out of California, do you think the poor payroll number Friday is lighting a fire? Do you think we're going to get a deal done?
You know, thank you for having me, Guy. I am more optimistic today than I have been over the course of the last several months. You mentioned the payroll numbers on Friday. The data says, in addition to what we're hearing from independent economists and even central bank governors, the data says that that there is an urgent need to get money to millions of American businesses and even millions of unemployed Americans. I mean, the simple number, and this, I went back and read it 2 times when I saw it, there are still 10 million Americans today who are unemployed, who had a job back at the beginning of this pandemic. So the need could not be more urgent now than it has been since the start of this pandemic.
So I guess my question is, are we expecting and do we need President-elect Biden to come out and push this deal through and sort of get the House Democrats in line, get Nancy Pelosi to say, okay, fine, I'll agree? Does that need to happen, and will it?
So there's one thing I've learned about Joe Biden is that he has his ear to the ground of when it is helpful for him to weigh in Congress and when it is not helpful for him to weigh in Congress. I suspect he is going to be on the phone with the Democratic leaders in the House and the Senate, Pelosi and Schumer, to see whether or not it would be even helpful for him to weigh in this type of way. What we know, he has said just last week, is that it is necessary, even if he cannot get a full loaf right now, a half a loaf is better than nothing. $908 billion is still a big number. It doesn't include, this package doesn't include additional stimulus measures, which independent economists and others say it is needed. We're talking about an additional $1,200 or so for families making $75,000 a year. That's what Joe Biden and other Democrats like Nancy Pelosi would like to see happen. If they cannot get that passed in this context, and that doesn't seem likely, their hope is that come January and February, with a Democratic president and Democratic control of Congress, and that's a big if, that they can go get the second half of that loaf of bread.
Isn't that too late? Isn't that the problem we face right now? Societies around America are being shut down right now. People are suffering right now. Even if you get a deal done this week, like, how quickly can people actually access the money?
Yeah, well, you know, the devil is in the details. That's why it's so important, as Senator Cassidy said and Anna said in the segment before, for us to see the details, this expanded summary that should come out today. I agree with you, Guy. I actually think we are behind the 8 ball, that more stimulus should have been passed in September and October. And because of Congress's inaction to do that, I think is one of the reasons why we are starting to see the economy slow in the ways that we have seen. I would also note here, too, that to really get the economy moving again, all Americans must heed to the advice of public health officials, including the president. He was down in Georgia on Saturday in Valdosta, and I mean, there were thousands of people standing shoulder to shoulder without masks on. Now, they were outside, but we are at a public health crisis, the likes of which this country hasn't seen in 100 years. And so to really get the economy moving again, all of us, Republicans and Democrats alike, need to heed the advice of public health officials.
So let's talk about the process to all of this. So you have a potential government shutdown like tomorrow, right? They have to agree to a budget that's probably going to get pushed off for about a week. That's what I'm hearing. So they can attach any kind of stimulus bill to that budget. What does that look like? What does the horse trading look like? What can market participants expect just in terms of rhetoric over the next week?
Well, there's going to be a lot of posturing. I would pay attention if I am a market participant or somebody watching your show. I would pay attention to this core gang of 8, these Democrats and Republicans in the House and the Senate. We're talking Mitt Romney. We're talking Joe Manchin. We're talking Susan Collins. Those middle of the road Democrats and Republicans on both sides of Congress who have been working even over the Thanksgiving holiday. I read one of your reports that said they even held a call on the morning of Thanksgiving. They have been working behind the scenes to try to get a deal over the finish line. So it's always important to hear what the Senate Majority Leader has to say and what the president has to say. We should, of course, pay attention to that. But pay attention to what those 8 centrist Democrats and Republicans on both sides of the aisle are doing and saying, because that's where we're going to get a deal that can finally deliver to the American people and the economy what independent economists and others say we need right now.
Anthony, talking about delivering to the American people, the Biden team has announced its healthcare lineup. This group of people are going to be in charge of probably the biggest rollout of vaccines we've ever seen in history. What do you hear? What is your degree of confidence in them being able to deliver this amazing kind of story effectively and quickly? Because the U.S. economy is relying on this now.
That's exactly right. I am heartened by a name that many of your viewers know well, who's going to be charged with working with public health officials to put together the rollout plan of the vaccine, Jeffrey Zients. Of course, he served, had a distinguished career in the private sector and ran the NEC in the Obama administration.
Anthony, it looks like we lost your feed there, but thank you for your time. Anthony Coley, a Corner Office Strategies founder and former Deputy Assistant Treasury Secretary, speaking to us there. This is Bloomberg.